So this morning, as usual, as often is true, we need our blankets, we need blocks, we'll want our blocks, a chair, if you have a chair, even a straight back chair, I think you would want today. And yeah, just everything that we usually use. Always be prepared, right, with our props. So sit up straight and tall. If you've been sitting in simple cross legs, change the cross of your legs. But I haven't been, so I'm going to start in a certain way. But then once you get there, so let's all just sort of settle ourselves into our spots now and lift up as tall as we can. But as we're doing that, first of all, we're going to move the buttock flesh a little bit just to feel the awareness into both sides of the buttocks. So that, and it's really the sit bones. If you could get your sit bones down, well, they are down, but if you could get them into your awareness as really a strong part of the base here, that would be good. Because then you could press down on your buttocks, which would take your hips down. Just feel that, really press down on your buttocks and see that that sort of concentrates a lot of strength into what we call the sacral band. So the sacral band includes the pelvis in the front, the sacrum in the back, and the side body here, right through this, what we call the side sacrum. And some of us know very well what the side sacrum means because this is an area that can feel shortened, and we don't want that. So pull your outer hips down, and then the center of yourself up. So find the midline of your pose here with the assistance of the balance of your feet, the cross of your shins, the sit bones and how they're placed, and then lean a little bit forward with your chest. So lean forward with your chest, and your spine will go long, and take the buttock flesh backwards then. And more than anything, take your spine inward toward the center of yourself, toward the center of your torso, and then sit back up and roll your shoulders down. So there's a lot to be said about sitting safely and comfortably and with a lot of lift through the spine. So put with your hands on your thighs, and you can use your hands with a little bit of pressure, not like you're pushing and forcing, but just a little reminder to stay down and then lift the torso up from the hips to the armpits. That lift should be so comfortable for you because we know this. And then as you're doing that, imagine that my hands were on your shoulder blades, softly pulling down, not pulling so much as brushing. If you could take the shoulder blade skin down and then just be here for a minute and then bring your hands together in prayer. Close your eyes, soften your face, relax your jaw. Everything now comes into the center of you, trying to feel the spine right in the center, lifting the heart up, lifting the chest up, drawing the elbows down. So right across your collarbones broaden and feel like your shoulder blades are moving down, but that the back bodies really come to attention as well. When you lift your front body as much as we are right now, from the lowest part of the abdomen all the way up to the collarbones and over the shoulders down the back, all of that is happening. The back body really engages as well. So feel the back body moving to protect you by, for one thing, lengthening from the waist to the ribs. So do that, and then pull your shoulder blades down and slightly in, and the elbows down. And then go in and just feel how you feel today. Every day is different, as we know. And so we start by acknowledging how we feel, what's going on. And we're going to change that a little bit because the practice of yoga is, in a lot of ways, transformative, even in the smallest ways. Yeah, just really can be so nice for us. So draw the back of your arms into your awareness and draw the back of your arms down into your elbows, and then lift your inner armpits up. So we keep re-lifting, re-stretching there's not just one and done. We're just doing it constantly, holding your abdomen back, holding your ribs back. Now, with all this beautiful elevation of our spine, bow your head to your heart. Bring your hands down to your thighs. Open your eyes in front of your shins and bring your head back up. And then straighten your legs and cross them the other way. So when you cross them the other way, take care to feel like your buttocks are again adjusted if you need, which I think we all probably do. And then to be right in the center, because sometimes the cross of the legs can affect the weight into the buttocks, but we don't want that. We want both buttocks to feel like they are down and very similar in terms of the weight on each buttock. Should be the sit bone too. If you can feel the sit bones, that's really great. And then we lift our spine up. Take your thumb and first finger together and create this stretch across the three fingers and put those on the top of your thigh close to the crease of your leg. And you'll see by doing that, by bringing your attention right to the crease of your leg, you lift your abdomen out more, because you know that the crease of the leg and the abdomen are two parts of the same picture. Draw your elbows down, your armpits up. You're not closing your eyes now, but throughout our whole practice, we keep our face soft, and we are looking, because that's part of the practice, is to see what's around you for feedback. But we don't attach to things we're looking at quite so much. Take 3 conscious breaths. Turn your palms down and straighten your legs. So now we get this opportunity to look at our legs and our knees and our ankles and our feet and all these things, and adjust things that seem out of whack. We want our knees to look identical. And so if one knee looks like it's turning out, we take the hamstrings, flesh, and we move it a little bit sideways from the center, and the same on the other leg. And then we look at our knees again. But it's not just the knees, it's the shins. So draw the outer shins in and the inner ankles away. So, and then take your toes and stretch them away from your torso. So you're really stretching your toes away. And then take your hands beside you for a little bit of feedback and open your armpits up. So this is, and then bring your toes more toward your shins. So that's the opposite. So then that's really stretching back through the calf, the Achilles, and then point your toes. So that's really stretching the quads and the shins. But the shins don't have a lot of sensation, do they? Except when you get a little bruise on the shin. That hurts like crazy. But otherwise, your shins have so little muscle or flesh or anything, It's the calves. So pull the heels away. And just stretch the calves, but not so that you feel like you're doing anything too aggressive. More like it's just a nice stretch through the calves, into the Achilles, into the heels, and then just broaden your toes away from each other as much as you can, and lift your chest up. And now let's all cross our legs the same way. So we're going to take our right shin in front, and I will mirror you. So the right shin comes in front, and then we readjust ourselves as necessary, just because we don't want to be anything but centered. So be in the midline of your body, from the center of your face down the throat, the chest, the ribs, the belly button, the pubis, and then everything on the other side is as even as you can make it, and pull the buttock skin flesh down. So the skin on the buttocks is going down. The skin on the shoulder blades is going down too. Now take your hands behind you and interclasp your fingers, unless, with larger shoulders that might not feel so good. So you can take a belt and hold the belt behind your back and pull the belt down. So there's, I'm just saying interclasp your hands if that's easy. So if it's easy to interclasp your hands and you can keep your elbows straight and your shoulder skin is going down, pull your hands down. that is quite a lift of the chest, of the armpit area, what we call the armpit chest. So the armpit chest now has that circular rotation from the bottom of the armpit up over the shoulders and around. So we feel that. Now, take your arms apart and bring your arms forward into this, I've been calling now holding a beach ball. And hold the beach ball, but when you do hold the beach ball, nice and soft, but it is pressing back into your abdomen a little bit. You have to take your abdomen back towards your spine a little bit. And then you're rounding. And then come back up and place your right hand down on the floor and your left hand on your waist. And then curve the right side of your torso. The left side will lengthen. Feel the nice length there. If you can take your arm and stretch it, do that. But you know, if your shoulder bothers you, just keep your hand down. But otherwise, we're going to go over and we're going to make a nice big stretch over. So you should feel the left side body just nicely stretching. But lift and lengthen the right side body. It's curving, but it can lengthen. And then come back and put your left hand on the floor and your right hand on your waist. I like to start this way just in case, you know, my shoulder doesn't like it. I mean, this part, this is always good. But if you can do your arm, do that, stretch your arm. And then you're taking your arm over. So now the right side body, not a nice length, but the left side body could have it too. If from the hip to the armpit, really lengthening. And then come back to center. And straighten your legs and cross your legs the other way. And then now, if you interclasp your hands before, you're going to do it the second way. So if you are holding the belt, no need to change how you hold the belt. And then pull your hands down and your armpits up. So your neck, let's agree that if we're not going to worry about our neck, we're going to worry about our collarbones. We're going to worry about our shoulder blades. We're going to let the neck be comfortable because the collarbones are so lifted. But now we're going to come into this big rounded shape. So you're going to look down now. You'll look down towards your shins, probably toward the cross of your legs, and you're holding this big beach ball, and it's just nice because it feels like you're really enveloping it, and that the belly button's going back. And then you come up and you put the right hand on the floor, the left arm over. Of course, we stay here if that's better for us. If we can do this, we do this. And lengthen the right side body. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Also notice the weight on the left hip over here. And then come back and put your left hand on the floor and your right arm up, or the waist if that's better for you. Keep the right buttock down as you take your right hand over. So just nice big stretch. You should feel it through the armpit, through the rib cage, everything else. Nice. And then come back to center and straighten your legs up. And now we're going to cross our legs the first way. So as I've been saying, I call that a seated flow. And I like it because it has 4 major bends of the back. It has the back bend, the rounded action, the side curve, the other side curve. So now we're going to do 2 other bends of the back. So now you're going to, if you're comfortable sitting here like this with your legs crossed, you're going to take your left hand to your right knee. And then when you do that, you're going to notice how light your left buttock got. So undo that and place both buttocks down and lift your spine up before you do anything else, and keep your left buttock down and take your left hand to your right knee. Much different. And you would never notice it if certain things don't happen later, you know. So we're going to take our right hand behind us. You could use a block if you need, but stay really centered in your spine. So don't go anywhere quite yet, and until you feel confident that your side body is equally long from the hip to the armpit, both sides, and that you're not leaning over to the right, even though we're going to twist that direction, and that you keep all the weight you can in your left buttock. If you do keep your weight in your left buttock, your side sacrum will really thank you. So now we're going to start turning away from that hip. So the left hip stays down, but we're turning away from it. And the rotation comes from the waist, the rib cage, So turn all that area and the chest and then the shoulders. So just be here in your pose. Don't go any further than feels comfortable. This is only our first twist. So if this feels in any way like you wish you hadn't done it, then back off, always back off. But if you can go a little further, go a little further. As I go further, I notice that I keep re-lengthening. I don't take any chances, because I know myself. When the cat's away, So then we're going to turn back to center with all the awareness in our abdomen that we can bring. And then we're going to take our right hand to our left knee. Somebody speaking? No. Okay, keep the right buttock down as you take your right hand over and your left hand behind and stay really centered. That's where I feel that most benefit comes on these twists, is to stay centered even though we're doing something so different. So now your right buttock is down, your right side body is long, you're not leaning, but you start turning. So this is the sixth bend of the back. It's a twist to the left. And so, just thinking about all these ways that we can bend our back, and so thankful for that. And hold on to your abdomen, to your awareness, and come back to center. And then straighten your legs and cross your legs the other way. So when we do twists, we only learn to love twists when we can stay so elevated with our spine. If there's any chance that the vertebrae are not lifted, this twist is hard. And twists are a challenge, but we want them to be really good. They're good for so many things. So let's sit as consciously on our buttocks as we can. We're second time both sides. So we're going to sit as heavily as we can on both buttocks, lift up as tall as we can, and then we're going to take our left hand to our right knee, our right hand behind us. So this attitude is already there, but this buttock doesn't buy it. The buttock says, well, we'll see, because I want to stay down. And so the side sacrum from the hips to the waist, really long, from the waist to the armpits, good, and the abdomen back, and then just gently turn. And notice how when it's so lifted, it feels it feels safer, but it also feels easier. And why not? So bring your left ribs around, take your right ribs back, hold your abdomen up and long, and breathe, and breathe. And then when you come back to center, don't forget all this strength you have in the abdomen and all this length in your spine. And then come back and take your right hand to your left knee, your left hand behind you, right buttock down, right hip down, side body long, equally long, as tall as you can go, and breathe. And then start turning just gently so that you're aware of what's happening. So your right ribs start coming around, your left ribs start coming back, but the spine is still centered, still long, still lifted, and the breathing is so nice through those vertebrae. That's what we're thinking about, all the nerves of the back that are really energized by a twist as long as we keep the lift. And then we're going to come back to center. And then straighten your legs up so that now your legs are straight into what we would call Dandasana. Now, if you were sitting where I'm sitting on my lift, is about right for this next pose, which means that I'm not sitting back too comfortably. I'm sitting forward, but I do have some of the hamstring flesh on the blanket too. But I'm more perched than I am comfortably sitting. And then I want to put my hands beside me. Well, adjust your knees if you need to. I know I just realized I needed to. And then with your hands pressing down, press your elbows down and your armpits up. And you'll feel really strong through the quadriceps and probably length through the calves. Bring your right knee up and put your right foot as close to your hip as you can, as to your buttock as you can. But if you have a knee problem that makes the compression of the knee uncomfortable, you can take your foot out a little bit further. Or you could sit up higher, and that would really be the best alternative. So I'm trying to get myself really wedged in here with my calf and my thigh, but that does require that my knee appreciates that and will do it. This other leg, well, it's the more important part, really. So stretch through your left foot. Notice whether the inner left leg is long or if it's kind of given up the ghost, and really stretch through it. And then you're holding your right knee just to lift your spine up. So lift as tall as you can, lift as tall as you can, and take your right hand behind you and take your left arm up. So now from this up position, both buttocks down, abdomen really long, turn and take your elbow to the side. Now, if that doesn't work for you, hold your hand around your knee. But if you can get your elbow down, then notice the weight on both buttocks. It might surprise you where it is. And even it, make sure it's even, and stretch and look at your outstretched left leg. Look at that as you lift your spine up as tall as you can, and then start turning. You're using your elbow against the knee to create some leverage for the turn. But the turn is also coming from the awareness into the rib cage. So your left ribs come forward, your right ribs go back. I'm still looking at my outstretched foot because I think that is a really good way for my neck to behave. So let's think about our neck now and lift your collarbones up as tall as you can. And then if you can look more in line with your chest, that is great. But I first had to be sure that that was okay for my neck. And then we're going to come back to center. Straighten out your right leg. Make sure both legs look identical before you begin the second side. Then bring the second side up. That will be your left knee, your left foot close to your buttock. And then you're just going to say, how does your knee feel today? Is everything okay? And, just make sure of that. Your knee needs all the TLC it can get. So we're going to hold on to our knee for a second as we look at our outstretched right leg and just make sure that the leg is really engaged and active, inner leg quite long. And then take your left hand behind you. Notice, for me, the knee, boy, it sure could go various ways. Lift your arm up as tall as you can. So the side body on the right side is really long, and turn toward the left and then bring the elbow down. If that doesn't work for you, it's always better to hold the knee. But if this works for you, it's getting the elbow to the side and down. This is just our first time. Let's not be discouraged. Sit up really tall, lift your collarbones up, hold your abdomen in, twist. So the right ribs are coming forward, the left ribs are going back. I'm looking at my outstretched foot for the safety of my neck. But as my neck feels comfortable to turn, then you should think the same. I can't tell you where to take your neck in space because you know how it feels. Pull the trapezius down, lift the collarbones up, and then undo. So let's try that one more time because the first twist is, we still could do a little bit more. So bring your right knee up. And so there's quite a compression between the calf and the thigh, but if the knee bothers you, again, give yourself a little space or sit up higher. And then hold on to your knee, to your shin, and lift your chest up and stretch out through the left leg and breathe. And then take the right knee over the midline. Just take the right knee over the midline. That'll lighten the weight on the buttock. Don't worry, they'll come back. Hold it, lift your left arm up, and then turn and get the elbow a little lower. That requires some noises out of yourself that you might, is harder. So lift up really through the collarbones and start turning. Keep looking at your left leg, left foot for a moment as you go. And then if you can get your elbow a little lower, you could try. It isn't the elbow coming lower, It's the armpit connecting with the outer knee. And then twist. And then you can look in line with your chest if that feels good for your neck. Think of your trapezius going down, your chest lifting up. And then undo. And then bring in the left knee. Left knee up, foot close, depending on how it feels. Hold on to the shin, lift your chest up, lift your spine up. Take your left hand behind you, take your right hand to your left knee, and just cross the midline for a second. Just cross the midline. Right? And then take your elbow to the side if you can. So this might require you leaning forward. For me, it does, because the tendency, honestly, is to move away from this. And if you have to move away from it, sit higher so you don't have to. But try to get your elbow a little lower. And then your knee comes back up to center, which initiates the twist. And you're looking at your right foot, at least I am, and lift your collarbones up, lift your chest up, breathe. Rib cage is twisting. Belly button is twisting. Breathe. Now you can turn your head in line with your chest if that works for you. Pull your trapezius down. And undo. Good, good, good. All right, now lie down on your back. Lie down on your back for a few minutes. We're just going to do figure 4. So take your, not just, it's an important pose. Take your awareness to your buttocks first. Feel your, when you lie down, squeeze your knees in. Squeeze your knees in. Take your hands behind your knees and squeeze them in. And breathe. And then just feel your back. Feel your back. And then put your feet down on the floor. And now cross your right ankle over your left knee and take your hand to your right thigh and rotate the thigh externally. So what we're going to do here is depends on the understanding that the knee that is going to try to come in line with the ankle on the right side can only do that from the top of the thigh. Do we agree? You're not trying to wrench your knee into some position. You're turning your thigh bone into the hip socket externally, and then bring the left knee up. And so I'm really putting some pressure into my right thigh to stay back. So because the right thigh wants to come over the abdomen. And so I'm just trying to educate it. I'm trying to give it some hints. And then notice the weight in both buttocks, and then undo. And cross your left ankle over your right knee and rotate that thigh externally. Because, as we just said, you don't want to be rotating the knee. You want to rotate the femur bone into the hip socket externally, then bring the right knee up. And so one side is usually more kind of there to begin with, and the other side needs a little bit of help. Now, knees in, cross your right ankle over your left knee, rotate the thigh externally, lift your left leg straight up. So lift your left leg up, or wherever it is for you. I know straight up requires hamstring flexibility that you might not have yet, so your foot will not be as close to your face, but if you can take your foot straight up, you do. And then undo and cross your left ankle over your right knee and bring your right leg up. So again, same idea, the hamstring needs to be flexible to take your foot toward the ceiling. I know that. So, that's just the way that goes. You have to be where you are. And then undo and put your feet on the floor for a second. Relax your face, breathe. Because we're going to try something now that's not so hard, but it requires consciousness. And we're good at that. So bring your right knee across your right ankle, across your left knee, rotate the right thigh externally, and then lift your left leg up. And then, now, this is the consciousness. Well, it's part of the consciousness. Try to hold your right hip there without pushing with your hand, and take your hands to the floor. And then descend the left leg to the floor, but rotate the right thigh externally as you're doing that to bring the foot down. So the left leg is down and the right knee should be down, should be right the way it was. So this gives you an opportunity though, with your foot on the floor, to rotate the right thigh externally in the hip socket with your awareness. You can see that you can do that. And then undo and bring both knees back up without any cross of anything, and then cross the left ankle over the right knee. So you're bringing the right knee towards you, the left thigh rotating externally, lift the right leg up, hold the left thigh with your awareness. Boy, that is hard if you have a flexible hip. If you have a tight hip, that's the time you love it. But rotate that thigh externally, keep it without using your hands, and descend the right leg, taking the knee with it. So your knee stays at that angle that it was, but then when your foot comes to the floor, that gives you an opportunity to feel the hip and the thigh connection. You can feel that a little better, and just make that more pronounced. Really roll that thigh externally. And then undo, uncross your legs, and turn over to your side and come up. So when you come up, just come to your hands and knees. So place your hands carefully. Place your hands carefully. And just notice how they look. And really now pretend like you could flatten your palm so much that the center of your palm came down. That's one of Mr. Iyengar's greatest desires, is he says, press everything down so that even the center of the palm comes down, and then keep that and lengthen up through the inner arm toward the armpit. Outer arms are going to be helpful. Lift your hips up, come into downward facing dog. But keep your knees bent for the sake of your back. Keep your knees bent for a second and push through the side body toward the hips. So your shoulders are going up, your ears are not. So your shoulders are going up. I'm looking at your first dog pose, because that's always, oh, pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah. If you keep your knees bent, that would help though, wouldn't it? Because you want to feel like you don't have to overstrain. Yeah. Good. Good. That looks lovely. That looks lovely. Breathe. Good. Outer arm squeeze in. Outer arm squeeze in. There you go. There. That's good. That's good. Okay, come down. I had to look because dog pose is such a pretty pose. But what I noticed for you is everybody looked good, and it was just our first dog pose. So that says to me what we were doing with our hips and our legs and our back and all those seated work we did, it's helped, because everybody's spine looked quite long. So let's try it again. So hands down, and we're going to do a little action here where we're going to move our foot in line with our hand. So come into your downward facing dog. I'm moving things out of the way. I don't want to kick anything. Downward facing dog. So now, as long as you can get your spine, before you worry about your legs, get your spine as long as you can and your side body as long as you can. Pull your inner arms up, almost feel like your inner arms relate to the spine, and lengthen up through the side body too, and breathe. And then if you can straighten your legs, and even if you have to take your heels up, that's just fine. Straighten your legs and breathe. Now you're going to look forward between your hands for a second. You're going to bend your knees and you're going to try to get your right foot to the outside of your right hand. And as close as you can do with one step. Sometimes it takes 1 or 2 or 3 steps. And then look forward and look down at the floor. Lengthen your crown of your head away from your foot and your foot away from the crown of your head, and breathe, and then bring that leg back. Bring that leg back and be in the straight leg version of this pose, even if your heels have to come up. Your knees can bend a little bit. Breathe and look forward. You have to kind of look forward. You have to give yourself an idea of where you're going. Within 1 or 2 steps, hopefully one, bring your foot forward and then stretch the other leg back. So your left knee is bent to the side of you, but your right leg stretches back into the heel and your chest looks forward. And then come back and come down and child's pose. So child's pose or lie on your back, squeeze your knees in. So whichever is best for you. So in child's pose, the energy is going 2 directions, towards your hands and towards your buttocks. And the side body should feel just nice and gentle and long. So child's pose is a pose that just takes a lot of stretch. It's stretch toward the hands, stretch toward the buttocks, stretch toward the heels. And then come up. Now, question. Did you find that one leg was better than the other, taking it forward? You know, one leg was, oh, that has it, the other doesn't have it. Let's try it another time. If it's not good for you, of course, you hold back. But if it's okay, come to your hands and knees, and we're gonna just try again. So before we go anywhere, lift your abdomen up towards your spine and lift your spine towards your armpits and lift your chest through all that, and then come up into the pose, downward facing dog. And in downward facing dog, just lengthen your spine best you can, lengthen your side body. So inner hands are really important here, but try to press your hands down, even in the center of your palm. Try to do that, because if you do that, it really gives your legs a lot of confidence in the pose. And then you're going to take your right foot and just try to bring it right to the outside of your right foot. Better that time. And then left leg stretches back. You know, it doesn't really even matter. It's just always learning about yourself. Where are you today? How are things going? Breathe. And then take your right leg back. And breathe and lengthen and really reorganize your hands to your legs. Your hands, the more firmly they're down, the legs are much better and happier. And breathe. Bend your knees a little bit, look forward. Bring the left leg forward. Not so easy on that side for me. Stretch your back leg. Breathe, breathe, breathe. And then undo, downward facing dog, and child's pose. Child's pose. Now, come up, and we're going to do an inversion, but it's going to be dolphin pose, and we're all going to do it together. Now, dolphin pose should be good for almost everybody, because it really is the lift of the shoulders, but you don't put any weight on your head, so your neck is completely safe. If you have, I think for everybody, this will be fine. So we're going to come to our headstand position with our arms. So our elbows are down, our forearms are down, our wrists are down. And in this way, I clasp my hands like headstand. You don't have to, your hands could be in prayer. But what I really want you to feel is the wrist and the forearm really going down. And then just for a minute, give this a trial. Press down, lift up, lift your shoulders up, and walk in. Walk in, but just see how this is for you. See how this is for you if it's okay to lift your shoulders up like this. If it's okay. And your forearms are pressing down and your spine is lifting. But a lot of the work here comes from the top of the legs. You'll see that. Now bend your knees and come down for a second. I just want to double check that that's okay. If it's not, would you lie on your back and put your legs up the wall, because that is perfectly fine. Dolphin pose is a good pose and it teaches us a lot, but it's not as easy to do as headstand because you don't have the balance of the legs overhead, really. Well, we'll get them there in a second. We're not going to really bring both legs up, don't worry. Okay, come down to your forearms. I say come down to your forearms because I really want you to use your forearms. So from the center of the forearms, pushing down, wrists pushing down, and elbows, of course, are down. Lift your buttocks up, straightening your legs and walking in a little bit if you can. Now, if you didn't like this, you're on your back with your legs up the wall. If you do like this, then lengthen up through the side body as tall as you can. So really that comes from the top of the legs, doesn't it? Lift the top of the legs up into the torso practically, and lengthen the side body as you go. Your ears will be between your upper arms, your shoulders are lifting, your ears are kind of staying where they are. Breathe, and then come down. And the reason that I'm coming down as opposed to holding you forever and ever is it's harder, isn't it? You know, it's a lot of work. But now we're going to try it again, and we're going to lift one leg at a time. Don't try to lift both. You could, but don't, because you want to be prepared for that. We're not going to do that. Okay, come down. If you were in and clasping your hands one way, clasp them the other way. For your Shishasana practice, that's the way we do it too. We try to change the clasp of our hands every other time. Press your forearms down firmly, wrists, elbows, all of that. Breathe, straighten your legs, and walk in. And when you walk in, pull your shoulders up. Pull your shoulders up away from your neck, but your neck doesn't change. And breathe. So you're getting in as close as you can. Lift your right leg up. Just stretching up through that right leg. Bring the leg down. Breathe. Bring the left leg up. And then bring that leg down. And then come down. So you have to agree your forearms did work, didn't they? Now, let's stand in Tadasana. So let's stand in Tadasana for a second. And be just on both feet, stretch your arms down. So we're going to be in Tadasana. Okay. Can you see me? Can you see me? No.
No,
Why?
camera went off.
I don't know why. Switch to active speaker. That now it comes to, doesn't come to me. It's coming to somebody else. How weird.
Do you have a red line over your video camera icon in the bottom left?
Oh, it does now. No, there we go. Thank you. I didn't intend to do that because not that my Tadasana is any better than anybody else's, but it's nice to see the teacher, isn't it? So here we are. I'm back. Thank you. When you're on your back, you don't care, but when you're standing up, you kind of do care. So be in Tadasana and take your hands and take them down beside your hips, either side of your hip. And then come back into your heels and take the top of your thighs back. Notice how much of a tendency it is to roll the thighs out. Take the inner thighs back. Take the hands back. And then lift your chest up and hold your abdomen really firm. And take your hands back behind you, like you're, just like you're trying to touch something behind you, but you haven't changed your torso. That should lift your chest up, take your shoulder blades down. Now, so now what I want you to do is bring your arms up overhead in Urdhva Hastasana. I know you can't see this, so I'm going to come down to my knees just to show you something. What I would like you to do is take your arms up so that the palms of your hands stretch toward the ceiling and your wrist and your forearm stretch way up. It's quite challenging. It's quite challenging. And then and then undo. The reason we're doing that is because we're going to do another inversion, but it's going to be on the floor. So this inversion requires, the best for it is 2 blankets for your head, 2 blocks for your shoulder blades, and that's all you need. But now we all have blocks and blankets. I think this will work fine. If for some reason you don't have enough blankets, you want your head and your shoulders to be at essentially the same level. So that's why I have 2 blankets. If you don't have 2 blankets that work that way, maybe a pillow, maybe something, you want your head and your shoulders in the same line, and then you're going to lie on your back. So we do this, we've done this before, and we put our shoulder blades on the blocks and our head on the blanket, and then we just realize how much of a curve our back is in. So when you do this, you have to hold on to the back of your head, pick it up, look at your legs and see if your legs are coming straight out of your hips, and then replace your head back on the lift. So breathe and lift your arms up overhead. Now I'm going to say something. If your shoulders don't like this, there's something that you could do that would be fantastic. You would stretch your arms to the side and be on the thumb and the fingernail side of your hand, palms up, and just stretch through your armpits as wide as you could. So Kelly, if you don't like to take your arms up and over, this is a really great alternative. For those of us who can, bring our arms up toward the ceiling, palms facing, then press your thighs down in response to that. Take your thumbs over your head toward the floor. So you're going to touch your thumbs on the floor, and you're going to stretch beyond your fingertips energetically toward the wall behind your hands. So you're stretching. You should feel really long through the armpits. Feel like your thighs are pressing like crazy to help your back. Your thighs are pressing down. If I could put 2 big sandbags on each leg, you would like that. Now bring your arms back up and bring your arms down for a second. So that's just stretching your arms up over your head. Do it again. Stretch your arms up over your head. Take your thumbs down, but then turn your fingernails down toward the floor, palms up. So we're going to start that way. So we're stretching through our fingertips, like we're stretching our hands toward the wall behind us. But then take your middle finger and put it right on the floor so that your wrists, the palm of your hand is straight up over that. It won't really be so easy, but stretch your wrists toward the wall. Stretch your wrists toward the wall. This is Supta Vrikshasana, which is handstand. This is handstand on the floor. And so we're stretching into the palms of our hands, and our wrists are coming up so that our hands are parallel to the wall that it's facing. And then bring your arms back up and breathe. And now just be here on the blocks and just notice your shoulders lifted and broadened, shoulders lifted and broadened. And everybody take their arms to the side, palms up, stretching through the armpits, breathing, breathing. And if it's okay for those of us, we're going to just take our arms back up over our head, take our fingers down toward the floor so that our fingers are down, but our palms are up parallel to the wall. Stretch into your wrists, pull your thighs down, and then undo and roll to the side. And so that's a good way to work on handstand. Before you really learn it, it's the strength into the hands, a lot of it. Take the blocks away, and not take the blocks away, move the blocks toward the center, toward the front, kind of in getting ready. And this is gonna be so appreciated. Take a blanket and put it on the floor like so. So not so that it's so long, but that you've got something. And then we're going to stand between our blocks. We're gonna stand between our blocks and we're gonna come into our heels and we're gonna lift our chest. And then I want you to take your hands behind your back, either not holding onto your hands or holding onto your hands. If you can hold onto your hands, you're gonna hold onto your hands and pull your hands as low as you can while lifting your spine up as high as you can. And then you're gonna bring your arms up and over your head and breathe. And then you're going to turn your palms forward and bring them down again. So anybody who doesn't want to bring their arms up over their head, put your hands on your waist and take your elbows toward each other. That'll be perfectly fine. So one way or the other. But for right now, hands down, breathe, bend your knees, put your hands on both blocks, step your left foot over that blanket and come into a right angle with your right knee over your right ankle and stretch your left thigh up and then bend your knee and put it on the floor. So now your left knee is on the floor, hence the blanket. And then I'm going to put my hands on my thighs and lift my chest up. You would think that being on your knee would be so easy, but I don't think it is. You still have to pin your hips quite a bit to keep your knee from going off which one way or the other, both knees, you know, the one that you're on and the one that's up. Now breathe and take your arms up overhead if you can. Otherwise, hands on the hips, elbows back. So that would be fine too. If your arms are up, you're going to lift your chest up and take your hands back if you can. Open your armpits, breathe, press into both feet. And then undo and bring your hands back to the block and bring your back leg forward. That's what they call a low lunge. Come up into Tadasana. Breathe. Bend your knees, put your hands on the block, step your right foot back. Bend your right knee, put the knee on the floor. Now the knee is over the ankle on the right side, and the knee is down, and then we're going to put our hands on our thigh, lift your chest up. So breathe. And bring your arms up and back, if you can. I'm holding on to my hands. My thumbs are crossed. That might not at all work for you. Your hands might be wide. Your hands might be on your hips. Lift your armpits up. Lift your armpits up. Lift your spine in and up. And then come back and stretch your right knee up and bring it back forward and come back up. So that's a low lunge, right? So breathe, take your hands back behind you, Tadasana. Bend your knees, put your hands on the block, step your left foot back. Your right knee is directly over your ankle on the right side. Your left thigh is up. You're breathing. Then you bring your left knee down. Now, this time, if you can turn your toes on your back leg down, do. But if you can take your flat front foot down and then put your hand on your thigh, both hands on your right thigh for a second, and put a lot of energy into that back leg. Take a lot of energy into that back leg and press down on the front foot. Lift your arms up and stretch up and open your armpits as high as you can, or hands on the waist, elbows toward each other. Breathe. And then undo and put your hands down. Turn your left toes underneath you with the left knee up. Bring the left foot back. Tadasana. So when you put energy into the back leg, for me, it really helps. Tadasana. Bend your knees. Take your right leg back. So before we bend the knee, get the left knee over the ankle. Get both hips kind of organized, chest lifted. Then bend your right knee and bring it down. So then organize yourself before you do anything. And if you can turn your foot down, if you can, and then breathe. and put a lot of energy into that leg then. Once it's down, once the ankle's down, toes are down, you can really work some energy there. Breathe, lift your arms up or hands on the hips, take your hands back or elbows back, breathe, breathe, breathe. And then undo, bring your hands down to the block, turn your toes under, straighten your right leg, bring your right leg back, Tadasana. Okay, let's have a chair. So if you have a chair, and I hope you do, because I think you'd like it, that's mostly why, I want you to bring the chair in just to the front of your sticky mat and put your hands on the chair and step your feet back to chair dog. So now if you can be in chair dog. If you don't have a chair to be in chair dog, then regular dog. But the chair is so nice, and we are going to use the chair or blocks for what we're going to do next. So I'm just seeing if you have a chair. Good, good. Okay, nice long chair dog now. Nice long chair dog. Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, bend your knees a little bit, everybody. Bend your knees a little bit. Ah, there we go. Now lengthen the mid back. Lengthen the mid back. Beautiful. See, be in the center with your mind into the center of your spine. Yeah, good, good. That's great. That's great. Really nice. Breathe. Really nice. Okay. Bend your knees, step forward, and come up. So now I'm going to show you what we're going to do, and I have to show you because you have to decide what your options are going to be, and I do mean there are some options. So here's the pose. The pose is preparation for pigeon. So if you know, I'm just going to show you something because it's wrong. Don't do what I'm going to do. But if I came into pigeon pose, and I didn't use any support at all under my buttocks, you can't see this, but my right buttock is about 1.5 inches from the floor, and my left thigh is the same. So that's not what I want. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take 2 blankets, and this is because I really think it's going to be a benefit to me. I can do it with just 1. But I decided, why not use 2? And you might need more. And why would you need more? Your knee. So here, see where I've got the chair, you'll see why. And this is going to be for my buttock and my thigh. Let me show you, and let me see if you, I want to make sure you can see. But I take my right foot over, it's quite a lift, you know, and I get my right leg into what we call pigeon. And when you're doing pigeon, your right thigh is not directly forward, but not too far to the side. And your buttock on the right side is on the blanket. And your thigh on the left side is on the blanket. And now you see where I am, I've got the chair. So would you try to find some way to come into this? Now, if I'm going to say this, hey, let's stop, let me show you the option. Let me show you a beautiful option. Your knee's bad today, you don't want to do this, you can't do this. You can sit through a chair. You have to have an open chair. And then you take your other leg back. So, do you see this? This is an option. It doesn't hurt. No knee was hurt in this demonstration. So if you think, gosh, that would really be better for my knees, try something like that. Otherwise, your right knee is bent, and you're in pigeon on the right side, and your left leg is long. And your elbows are on the chair to help your spine lift. And so breathe. breathe. And in this pose, your back leg is straight and your toes are on the floor. Your toes aren't turned under. Your sole of your foot is up. If you can do that. And then lift your chest up and try to make sure that your left thigh is down and your right buttock is down. If your right buttock is down but your left thigh is up, you need more lift. That's all there is to it. And then put your elbows on the chair because that helps you lift your spine up. And then lift your spine in. So I just lift my spine in toward my front body and up and my shoulders down. And boy, I'm feeling a lot of sensation in my right hip, hamstring, IT band, everything, but it feels fine. It feels like it's just sensation. It's not pain. And breathe. And then when we come out of this, we roll over to the right side. And then we release our leg. So this kind of, I've got quite a little mound of blankets here. You might too. So everybody okay? Let's try the other side. So this is a preparation for pigeon. Pigeon is Ekapada Rajakapotasana. So we take our left shin forward, knee forward, and so we're coming onto our left buttock and the top of our right thigh. So on this side, you can see better that both sides have to be down. And then the thigh really, the more the thigh is on the blanket, the buttock is on the blanket, that gives you back confidence that it can lift. But the elbows on the chair really help. If you didn't have a chair, there'd be blocks, huh? Okay, I'm coming to look because I just have to make sure everybody's got some version of this and they're okay with it. We good? Yeah, okay, good, Kent. Wow, Helen. I can't see Margaret. I can't see if you're on it. Are you just using blocks? Okay. That looks really good, you guys. That looks good. Everybody's looking at me like, are you crazy? Okay, now come off of that and go and just straighten your legs out and see how you feel. Feel okay? Everybody okay? That's kind of important that we're okay. And then we're going to go to the first side. So if that wasn't okay, you're getting more lift, or you're getting or maybe you're getting the chair and doing some alternative. But if you're still okay, we're going to try it again. So right knee and thigh and shin come over the top of the blanket, and then the buttock is on the blanket. And then now this time it'll be so much easier because you know what you're doing. This time, really lengthen your back leg. So you're on the top of your back foot. And you're really now just be centered in your mind. So center yourself from the crown of your head to the tailbone. And just be, so you'll notice that once the hips feel a little different. So press more weight into the left thigh if you need to. You can't be all on the right buttock. It has to be a lot on the left thigh too. If your elbows are down, that's fine on the chair. You can lift your spine up. You can lift your spine up. So I can see that some of you don't even need that. And if you didn't, you would be on blocks because it's really hard to lift your chest up if you don't have something to lift from. So what I wish I could do is get my back body into my front body more. So breathe, but then put as much weight and attention into your back leg as you can. Now really push weight and energy into your back leg, lift your chest. Breathe. And then undo. So I took the chair away just to show you that if you didn't have it, you could use blocks. You know, it's a little more challenging. I like the chair because it feels so perfect. But the blocks are good too. So now the left leg is forward. And you're going to put your hands on blocks. if you're using blocks or if you're using the chair. But whatever you're doing, I think for most of us, it's that back leg. You know, all the awareness comes to that front knee, but the back leg is what's really important. So really descend that thigh into the blanket or the support you've got and stretch through that back leg. So put a lot of energy into that back leg. Lift your chest up. Breathe. Breathe. And then undo. So take the chair away, blocks away, whatever, and come out of the pose. It's not as, you know, when you got this, all this stuff is in the way. Now, just downward facing dog, but if you've got support for your hips, use that under your forearms, under your elbows, and come up into downward facing dog. So downward facing dog, but you've got something holding your elbows up, which a lot of us could really use. And breathe. Good, good. Yeah, nice. Really nice. And I see some of you bending your knees, and I think that's perfect. Because when you do bend your knees, you get all sorts of length and awareness, and then you can try straightening your legs. You know, that looks just great, Riley. Because when you did bend your knees, you got a lot of length. That looks good, beautiful, really nice. Now come down, and we're going to go into pigeon one more time. So this time, we're going to see how it goes. We're not going to do the full pose, don't worry. You know what the full pose is though, don't you? So here I am getting ready. You know the full pose would be for the back leg to bend and you to hold on to the back foot and bring your arms over and hold on to the foot. So some of you I know can do that, but that's not what we're going to do right now. Right now we're going to come on to our lift again with our hips. We're going to come onto our lift with our hips. And then we're going to notice our left outer hip and try to roll it down. So it's a lot of energy into the back leg. And lift your chest. And you can stay like this if this is okay for you, but the next part would not be. If you're okay with the next part though, it would be to bring your forearms down to the floor. So now we're not going up anymore, we're going out. So now we're going out toward the crown of our head, and boy, does our IT band speak now. So this is only if you can tolerate it, if you like it. The back legs still have a lot of energy, and breathe, and breathe. So you're looking down at the floor. Now lift your chest forward, lift your chest forward, breathe. And then we're gonna roll to the right side. So if you didn't ever take ballet and you never knew what your IT band was, you do after taking yoga, don't you? You know how that is. We're going to go with the left side. So the left leg is going to come over, shin is going to come over. And so before I do anything else, I think it's really wise to get yourself organized and lifted. Because when we come down to our forearms, if we do, we're not trying to collapse through the spine, we're still lengthening. So get your back leg as organized as you can. A lot of energy back there. Lengthen your spine. Just feel like everything is so far is okay. And if you can bring your forearms to the floor, but if you can't, don't do it, you know. So if you can bring your forearms to the floor, you're going to. But you'll see that that doesn't mean that you collapse. You're still lengthening your chest, the crown of your head forward, the back leg's still very energetic, active, breathing, breathing. And now, just press yourself back up, roll to the side, undo. But see, we've still got this lift, downward facing dog with the lift for your elbows. It's not, at least my lift is not so hard as when we use blocks. So pull back, pull back. And breathe. Okay, now come down and get that chair again. Get the chair, whatever chair you have. You know, you just even a straight back dining room chair is okay, but if you have the yoga chair, that's all. It's lighter, it's easier. And then we're gonna do a chair dog. But we're going to use the chair for something else. So I wish everybody would have a chair. I don't know if everybody, maybe some people only have one chair. Okay. All right. Chair dog, chair dog. If you don't have a chair, then I'm checking because we want the chair. Ah, good, good. Nice long poses. So really nice, really nice. Good, okay, now, so I'll come up from that, and now I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna take my support away that I had, and I'm gonna bring my chair in. And it wouldn't have to be a yoga chair, just a chair. And then I'm going to sit on the chair, just on the very edge of the chair. But now what I'm going to do is a little different. And I've never taught this to you before. I've only done it a couple of times myself. And I came up with it. So I don't know anybody who does this. So I'm going to take your left buttock from my right buttock to the edge of the chair. And so both buttocks are on the chair, but your right leg is going to turn sideways. So one buttock is on the chair with the knee going straight forward. The other buttock is on the chair with the leg going straight out. So it looks a little bit like it would look if you were in gate latch pose. If you were in gate latch pose, the right knee would be on the floor, the left leg would be outstretched. This is gate latch pose on a chair. So when you get here, so you shouldn't feel like your hamstring is being caught on the chair. The hamstring's really not even on the chair. It's just the buttock now. It's almost just the sit bones. And then look toward your outstretched left knee. So take your right hand to your left knee and your left hand down beside you and just be as tall as you can be. So really tall, 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 tall. And then take this hand, your right hand, and put it on your right thigh, knee. Helen, you're probably laughing at me because you could just do this whole pose without any of this. But it should feel good to most of us. We're going to take our left hand onto our waist, and we're going to keep our left buttock down because you don't want to fall off the chair. I'm just warning you. And you're going to take your hand as low as you can. You're going to take your hand as low as you can. So maybe just take it right down to the ankle. Well, for me, it will only come to the mid-shin, not anywhere near the ankle. I don't want to lose my left buttock, your left buttock. Don't lose that. Keep it, and then come back up. And then you have to shift over to the other side. So now you're going to have your left buttock is going to be in line with your left knee, but your right buttock is going to the side. I'm sorry, I'm mirroring you. Your left buttock and your left leg go to the side. Your right knee is right out from your hip. So then take your hand your left hand to the outside of your right knee, right thigh, and just turn your torso. So it's just nothing, no big deal, but we just want to kind of recenter ourselves really from the center of our spine. And now take your left hand, palm up, My buttock is down on your right side, trying to keep that. As I take you don't get what you're going to get out of the pose if you do. So breathe. So it's a lot of stretch, but it's not, but the reason I did this, so come back to center and go to the first side. The reason I'm doing this is for people who come to gate latch pose, but their knees hurt so much. And I thought, well, you can get gate latch pose without it being down on your knee. So now you're on your left buttock with the knee straight out, your right buttock with the leg to the side, and then come back to the center with your torso and lift up. So Iyengar said, and I always thought this was interesting, he said each buttock goes with its own leg, and each leg goes with its own buttock. This is a good example of this. You're on your left buttock, your left knee is coming straight out of it. That's a very different situation for your buttock than for the right buttock. Because don't you see that that has had to change as the leg is going to the side. And this is what happens in regular gate latch pose too. Really tall through the torso, really tall. And then take your right hand, lengthening it down onto your shin, and take your left hand away. Now this is only if you can do this. Only if you can do this. You've got to keep the left buttock down. Keep the left buttock down. Keep the left buttock down. Breathe. And then come back up. And then go to the other side. And that just means shifting the buttocks. So now your right buttock is going to be with the leg going straight forward. Your left buttocks is going to be with the leg going to the side. So you can see what he's saying. Buttock and leg on one side, very different than buttock and leg on the other side. And then turn towards your bent knee on the right legs, just to lengthen your spine. And then take your left hand down and start descending it toward the ankle. The other arm stretches away from it. The other arm stretches away from it. And breathe. Keeping the right buttock down. Don't forget. Breathe, 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 breathe. And then come back up. Good. Okay. Now, just for a moment, sit sideways on your chair. So your right hip facing the back of the chair. And just twist gently to the right. So just gentle, gentle twist to the right, broadening across the collarbones into the elbows, lifting, and then coming back to center, walking your feet to the other way, walk your feet around to the other way, and then just do a really nice twist to the left. The most important thing about a twist, I think we've said 10 or 12 times today, is the extension of the spine. That's the important thing, because everything is so much better with an elongated spine, and then you're going to come back to center. Now, so we're going to do some form of Setu Bandha with Viparita Karani in it. So I'm giving you some options, but let's do a dog before we go into this. Do another dog pose. Let's stretch our backs out again. Let's really stretch our backs out as long as we can. Just stretch your back out. I mean, I'm assuming it's good, but we did kind of a couple of back bending sort of things. So beautiful. Yeah, that's all we want. Yeah. So really long through the torso. Really long through the torso. Yeah, very good. Very good. So usually after back bends, we try to lengthen our back just to double check, and then come down. So now is the option for either using a block under your sacrum into Setu Bandha, but after I did this practice the other day, the block felt hard to me, and here's an option. So the option is to take one of these narrow blankets, I folded it in a narrow way, and to put it down as my first bolster. So this is what Gita Iyengar called cross bolster Setubandha. And I remember her saying to teachers, what's wrong with cross bolsters? You know, why don't you use it more? And I thought, I use it. But the reason I use it is it's a little softer than a block. So either the block or this cross bolster setup, but let me just tell you, if you come into the cross bolster setup, which feels nice on the back, you've really got to get to the place where your shoulder blades are lifting up almost perpendicular. So you can't let your shoulders relax down. You know, in block Setubandha, your shoulders are up. So just make your choice. And make sure your lower back is long. And then if you come up onto the block, you might start with the second level block and see how that's going. And if it feels really good, come up to the third level block. Or you're using my cross bolsters the soft support and breathe. But regardless of whether you're using something soft under your sacrum, as in the cross bolsters, or something hard under your sacrum, the action of the spine is what's most important. So your spine is just extending towards your front body, and your chest is, your chest is always lifted in these poses, and your shoulder blades start working underneath, more underneath you. So now, if you can, lift your right leg up and extend up with the right leg and just stretch up through the inner leg. So use this opportunity to keep the right buttock down, but the right inner leg quite long, and breathe, and breathe. And then bend that knee, put the foot on the floor, and lift the left leg up. So if you can lift the left leg up, then you can really use the energy into the inner leg, but you have to keep the outer hip down. You knew if you're on your support, you have no choice. Good. And then bend that knee and bring it down and breathe. If it's available to you on the block, bring both legs up. If it's available to you now on the support that's softer, lift both legs up. Now your arms, in this pose, your arms can be beside you as in Shavasana, or sometimes I just like to use a cactus for my arms. So the saguaro cactus idea. Lift up through your legs, lift up through both inner legs and breathe. So also notice where you are. If you're on the block, you do get a lot more feedback. You know where you are on the block, there's just no doubt. You want to make sure if you're on the block that you're on the center of the sacrum and that your tailbone's not on that and that your waist is not on that. But if you're on the soft support, you have to pick your waist up a little bit. You have to pick your waist up and your ribs up just slightly and lengthen your chest away from all that action and stretch your inner legs up and breathe and breathe. So it's almost would be nice to have our shins and our thighs belted, wouldn't it? But since we don't, squeeze your inner shins, your outer shins inwardly and your inner shins toward each other and up into the heels. Now, if you can, take your legs a little bit wide, just a little bit wide, either on the hard support or the soft support, and then take your legs a little wider, if you can. And then take your legs a little wider, if you can. And then bring your legs back together. And then bend your knees and put your feet on the floor. So just breathing. The chest is so lifted. The chest and the chin are close. This is called the chin lock. And it's really an important part of relaxation. So just being here, your feet are down. Take your legs up one more time if that's available to you. When you take your legs up, just enjoy the fact that your throat and your chest are closer, and breathe. It tightens the throat. It does. But the action is so important for the relaxation of the brain. There's a lot of scientific evidence that the brain now is softer through the prefrontal cortex. Now, undo your legs, put your feet on the floor, and then if you're on the block, lift your buttocks up and take the block to the next lower level. If you're on the support of the soft support, no big deal. You're just going to roll over to the side. And if you're on the hard block, you're going to go down to the floor and lengthen your lower back. And so for everybody, we're going to do Shavasana now. And your chair could be used for your shins. Your bolster could be used for your knees, anything that you want. But before we do anything, just lie flat and squeeze your knees in just for the lower back. Just make sure that the lower back feels like it's good. And then come into your Shavasana. So whatever your version of Shavasana is today, there's so many ways that we can do it that we enjoy. We can take our legs up the wall even. We could be in Viparita Karani. We could be in just regular old flat Shavasana, which would be beautiful too. In my own practice, I go back and forth between a lot of them because I like them all. So, because once you're in Shavasana, that's really what it's about, is coming into Shavasana. You use the external setup to make yourself as comfortable as possible. And it's also a way of coming into contact with your body. Once you are really using your awareness into your body to relax it, you learn a lot. So we take this opportunity to be sure your lower back feels long by moving your buttock skin away from the waist. I'm not saying that you have to press your waist down to the floor. If your legs are on a chair or up over a bolster, your back will flatten a little more. That's fine. If your legs are straight, however, your back will not flatten. You will have a little curve in your lower back. You should. And broaden right across your chest. So broaden across your chest into your hands and across your ribs to the side body. And from the belly button right to the side of your waist, both sides of your waist. And across your pelvis toward both hips. And then when you're there, if you're in regular Shavasana, you'll feel that your thighs are relaxed outwardly, right? Your legs are just relaxed to more outwardly than anything. If you have your legs on a chair, that won't be quite so much the case. So wherever you are, then start releasing the skin on your back body down. So just feel like the back body skin is releasing away from the bones, away from the flesh even. You just want to take the skin and just soften it and relax it. So the back body skin provides a basis of support for the flesh, the muscles, and the bones to relax. So the flesh just relaxes away from the bone, the muscles away from that action. The skin just spreads softly over all of that. But the skin is just a really big part of Shavasana because of the importance of the pores of your skin, because the skin is such an important organ of our body. This is a great opportunity, really just for our skin. So breathe into your skin, breathe into the entire body. And every breath does go everywhere, we know that. The inhalation brings air into every part of your body, and the exhalation then gets a little softer, Just allow your inhale and your exhale to nourish and calm you. It's possible to be both nourished and really relaxed, just really calm, just feeling like you've had all the air you need for this. Now just bring your awareness back to the inhalation and slightly deepen your inhalation. Just a little bit. So a slightly fuller inhale and a little bit longer exhale. Just being aware of how soft your body is. Another slightly fuller inhale and a little bit longer exhale. And then just place your hands on your abdomen, bending your elbows, and thank your body. Thank your body. And then just with your awareness into your back body, just bend your left knee and roll away from the back onto the right side. Just gently, no hurry, just gently being here. Now, because when we come out of Shavasana, we retain something of this. So press with your hands, use the strength of your arms, carefully come up. Namaste. I bow to the goodness within you.